Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Seymour Shenanigans. Seymour Shenanigans.
We
Gonna
gon' shenan
shenanigans.
again.
We
We
gonna
gon' shenan again.
shenanigans. Y'all missed us. I know y'all haven't had a regular episode of Seymour Shenanigans in like a couple of weeks, but we here. We here.
Back.
We back, baby.
Ready for another one.
Big baby.
I just want to say you look good with the new hairdo. We had the big reveal. And I love it.
It's been like a little over a week, like a week and a half since I had it cut. What you thinking?
I still love it.
Okay, cool.
I still love it.
I'm still crashing out, but it's okay. But not because of the haircut though, but mostly just simply because I just had a realization of like the maintenance it's gonna take for this hairstyle, right? Because of my locks, I got my locks retwisted every 2 months, and that was nowhere between $135 to $150. Now y'all talking about I gotta get this haircut every 2 weeks because it's growing. Lord, my Shayla. But anyways, that's not why we here. Y'all, it is June. And I feel like it was important for us to talk about, like, from a married couple perspective, men's health, because June is Men's Health Month, right?
Okay.
And so I feel like it would be so important for us to just talk about it. So my first question to you.
Okay, let me sit up for this one.
My first question to you is, what is it like being married to a therapist, a mental health professional?
Oh, I can answer that.
Okay.
It is definitely enlightening
Okay.
because one thing as a therapist, well, there is no off switch.
Right.
You guys are always analyzing, reading something. You guys are very intellectual and more deeper thinkers. And sometimes it brings out where it's like, well, hey, I think you're reading too much into it. Like, I wasn't think going about that deep. And then there's also some of those things where it's like, oh, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So it's very good because it challenges you, to grow.
As y'all can see, he ain't lose that Channel 5 voice. Still there. It's very good.
It challenges me to grow because you're always on like, bang, like, okay, well, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, well, I didn't think of it like that. But you know what? That's good. Like, it broadens my horizon. Then sometimes it'll be like I just said, like, oh, hold on.
Right.
I just said something like, you thinking too deep into it. It ain't that complicated.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I say, it challenges you to grow and give another perspective, because that's one thing that therapists, they see things that a lot of other people don't see and help bring that out of you.
Yeah.
Do
you feel like, compared to when you were in your single life, right? And you may not really have an answer for this depending on how important your mental health was during that time. But compared to before you was married up until now, do you feel like it has helped your mental health? Like, whether it's being married or being married to a therapist. And I know that's probably hard to separate because you are married to a therapist. But like, do you feel like it has like helped you mentally?
It has.
It's been beneficial for you mentally.
Beneficial, yes. It's been beneficial for me mentally because now, not always for myself, but maybe for others, I'm able to give better advice or sound advice when people come to me, because now I'm able to give an unbiased opinion because I'm not in that situation. So when people come to me I'm like, hey, I'm able to give that advice, just something that I've learned in our conversations or through that, and I'm able to see that more.
So what you're saying is you taking my skills and using it on other people. Can I get my cut?
You always get your cut.
Sure.
You always get your cut.
Sure.
But it also, to piggyback in our perspective, in our relationship, it is beneficial because, like I said, it challenges me to grow and like I get that perspective. But it also forces me to be able to one thing that I've struggled with in my past is communication. Being able to communicate, process things mentally, And so now, for me, I'm taking that step in learning these different tactics or how to be able to apply better communication process, being able to see signs of depression or sadness or things like that. And it's able to, okay, you're able to see it, you're able to process it.
Okay.
Now how do we get out of it?
Okay.
Or like being able to communicate that to another person. And
Gotcha.
so it for me, that is a big stepping stone because I'm a very private person. So like being able to vocalize that and say that is a step in the right direction for me. And then the next step in the right direction is being able to recognize it and how do you get out of that.
Got you. Okay, that's enough on the mental health part. What about just like, because again, it's Men's Health Month overall. So what about like other health, like physical health?
Physical
How do you
health?
feel like, if any, how do you feel like being married has contributed to your physical health in any way?
Oh, it has greatly contributed. I will say that I don't remember the exact numbers, but there's a study that shows that married men tend to live longer than single men.
How you gonna steal my stuff?
I've seen this somewhere. I can't remember exactly where I've seen it, but I've seen it many times. And so it's one of those things because one thing as men, we scared to go to the doctor. I'm just being real.
Yes, y'all are. Why? Why is that? What is it that y'all afraid of?
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like the unknown. You expect the worst, and so you don't. You just think that everything will go away in time. And sometimes that may not be the case because if you go to a doctor, well, first off, the best thing is to get you a primary care physician.
Right.
A doctor that you can go to on the regular, have those checkups, because a lot of times when you have that, they may be able to run tests, they may be able to find something ahead of time and be able to treat it.
Yeah.
But like you said, men are scared because we're thinking the worst case scenario, and we think that, you know what, it's gonna go away and I'll be fine. Especially in the black house. Look, you go, drink some ginger ale, drink some Robitussin, you'll be good and keep it moving. So like we think that, and like we just like, you know what, we good. We don't have to go and do anything or get checked out. And the reality is that we're scared. We're scared of what they may find or what we think we make the worst case scenario.
That is so crazy to me because you rather sit there and live in fear of the unknown versus just finding out, and it could all be so simple.
It could. It
Literally.
definitely could.
It could all be so simple.
And also a lot of men tend to they don't think about the future a lot of times. They're thinking about the right here and the right now. Like, oh, I'm in my 20s, I feel good. I feel this and that.
Yeah.
But then as you age and you get older,
you're not thinking about like everything that you're doing now or the lack thereof, how it's going to affect you as you get older and older and older.
Exactly. So
that is very odd and weird to me. I mean, because you're not the first man that has said that. Like, I know for the longest, like my father was like that. Like, he wouldn't like going to it'll be fine. He didn't like going to the doctor because of the unknown. But it's like, just go. It could be something. So, or if he do go to the doctor and it was something so simple, then I wasted my time. I knew I was gonna be fine.
Right.
But you did not know you was gonna be fine because that could have went very left. So, but that is so interesting. But studies do show that men who are married tend to live 8 to 17 years longer than their unmarried counterparts. And of course, it's due to different various factors or whatever. But it also shows that, research shows a significant increase in mortality risk for men who are never married, divorced, or widowed compared to those who are, right? And I think it's because, and I know it's in here somewhere, as women, we care about all those things, those health things. Like, we stay on top of all the checkup stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And we keep y'all on y'all toes.
Yeah.
Every married couple I know or long-term relationship I know, when we are together, us wives and girlfriends are always talking about how we are making sure y'all making it to them doctor's appointments. Y'all have scheduled those yearly checkups, those dentist appointments. And let me say this is a side note. If you do not go to the dentist, keep your mouth, this is for men, women too, but mostly men. If you do not go to the dentist, keep your nasty mouth off that woman's private parts. Okay? And I'm for real, because y'all fail to realize, and I think a lot of people fail to realize, your mouth carries a lot of germs. And so when it's like when people say, oh yeah, he sleep with this girl, whoever, unprotected, and now you passing on this and that. The same thing, if you not taking care of your mouth, dental hygiene, you can still be passing on different STIs. Because I know they switch it up. It's not just STDs. STIs and just infections that is curable. Disease is not. I believe I got that right. If I got that backwards, y'all know what I meant. But like, you can like cause her to have different STIs too. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all ain't going to the dentist, and I don't know, it's a lot of people be scared of dentists too.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I love going to the dentist every 6 months. Baby, get me together. I think you was scared of the dentist for a minute too in the beginning of us dating, but
I was, and that's because of my own experiences.
Yeah, you did. I remember you did have like a bad experience with. Yeah. That makes sense. Go to the dentist. I'm just saying, do yourself and your woman a favor. But anyways, like studies show that women are more inclined to make sure you guys are going to all of your health and health appointments and stuff like that, because we actually want y'all to live longer, have longevity in life. While you, like you said, y'all just looking at like the right now. We looking like, okay, in 10 years we should be X, Y, and Z, and y'all, you like 10 years, but what about in 10 days?
Right.
10 years. I'm trying to figure out in 10 days what's going to happen.
Exactly. And I can say I have a story for me personally, how health and going to the doctor has affected me. Because I remember early off in our relationship when we first started, like we were still dating, and I had a doctor visit. And I was borderline with high blood pressure. And my doctor was like, I'm not going to prescribe medicine for you or anything right now. He's like, but I'm going to have you come back in 6 months. He's like, but you're going to have to make lifestyle changes. That means you're going to have to start working out more, lose weight, have to start eating right. And we'll come back. And if things change, then we'll be fine. If not, then I'll have to put you on medication. And that was a eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to take no medication. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, so I went and I told you, and we was like, okay, so now you have to make those changes. You have to be able to watch what you're eating. I have a sweet tooth. Can't do that. You have to go all that.
Mean sweet tooth.
And I started running. That was when I started getting on my health journey. Like, you know what? You're going to have to, I started running.
Yeah.
And that definitely helped.
Is that when I bought you like 2 pairs of running shoes?
Yes.
Like right after?
Yes. She bought me my shoes. I'm like, okay. And I wore them bugs out. So when I went back 6 months later, the doctor was like, hey, I don't know what you did, but you did a good job. He's like, keep it up. And he didn't have to prescribe any medication or anything. And it worked out.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that I've adopted since then, even though sometimes I may slack off here and there, but at the main point is the habits are consistently more often than not.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten back to that point to where now when I go to the doctor, they're like, okay, you're in good health.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that.
You're welcome. Okay, look, I did a little something. I think is this also around the time, so So a little backstory. When we first started dating, before we became sexually intimate, remember I was like, I ain't having sex until I know your status.
Mm-hmm.
I think we was like coming from a movie or something around that time. And I was like, so if you want to have sex with me, you got to go get tested.
Absolutely.
And so was it like sometime after that when that happened?
It was, because there was...
Because that's what prompted you to go to the doctor?
Yes.
He wanted to clap these cheeks. So he went to go get tested.
Absolutely.
And I stood on that ground too.
She did.
I think you had an appointment like that next month. Like as the earliest that was available, I think. But it was just one of those things of like, you know, health is wealth.
Health is wealth. It definitely is.
Health
I had
is
to make
wealth.
that call expeditiously.
He ain't shit. No, I'm just playing. And I think for me, and so before y'all thought I was talking about something, well, did she get tested? I had been single and I had actually just got tested. I think probably like shortly right before that or a little bit before that, and I wasn't having sex with somebody. And so I was like, cool, I already got my test, or the appointment was coming up. It was one or the other. And so I was like, nah, this is where we going to move to the next step, and then we need to get tested because there is no reason. And I was like, I need to see your mic chart too. And once you got done, what we do, we showed each other our mic charts. Like, here we go. This is what it says, yada, yada, yada. Because there is no reason you should not, as an adult, just in general, right? There is no reason why you should not know your status.
Definitely.
For when it comes to diseases, and then just like regular stuff, like you said, high blood pressure, diabetes, especially when diabetes run in both our families.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like your parents are diabetic, right?
Yes.
And both of my grandmothers are diabetic. And so those are things I don't play with, because if you can catch it early enough, I'm not a health professional, medical professional, but if you can catch certain things early enough, you can reverse it so that you don't have to get on medication. Clearly, because your doctor was like, hey, you borderline.
Right.
High blood pressure. So I'm going to need you to make these changes so this is not an issue for you. And, you know, we've seen that the proof is in the pudding. If you actually make changes and listen, we could prevent it, because once you get on that medication, for some people, it's hard to get off.
And it has side effects or
nobody want to be
cause other problems.
Forever.
So no, you go. Make sure that you getting a healthy, consistent life, and the less things that will happen, you know.
Okay. So we talked about mental health. We talk about like just overall health, physical health. What about spiritual health?
Spiritual health, you get right with whatever religion you believe in.
We're talking about you.
Oh, for me?
How has being married influenced your spiritual health in any way?
It has. It definitely has. So I was a person who grew up in the church.
Yeah.
Grew up in a church, was there all the time.
7 days a week.
Right.
Not
that long,
but you know.
Sunday was church all day. Then when you get home, you got to get ready to go to school the rest of the week, you know. So
I just want y'all to know Jarvis cussed one of his parents out before about that. I don't know if he'll tell you that story, but I just thought I'll throw that in there because it's so funny every time I hear a story.
Yeah. So I had a very complicated relationship with church and all that. Now, and I believe in God. I believe in all that.
Yeah.
But as far as actually going, it wasn't something that I was really interested in.
Right.
So
adult.
As an adult.
Yeah.
Now that I can make that own decision for myself. So when I started dating Shaniqua, first thing out of her mouth was, I ain't dating nobody that don't go to church. My initial thought was like, well, yeah, we can go see other people then. But after cooler heads prevailed and I calmed down a bit, I was like,
because my head was cool the whole time.
You know what? At first it was a struggle. You know, I was fighting it, but it did help me to get that relationship back with God and be able to strengthen my faith.
Yeah.
And it was especially that was very good for me, like because I needed that. And it was one of those things like you held my feet to the fire. And it was very beneficial for me and us because it gave me guidance and things of that nature. And the crazy part is that at that moment, That's when my parents loved her and fell in love with her. They'll tell you this story all the time, anytime.
Especially his daddy.
Exactly.
Yeah, he God's right hand man at this point. The way he go to church.
Right. So, man, it helped and it strengthened my relationship with Lord. And we started going to church together and building our faith. And then at that time, that's when COVID happened. So at that time, that's when churches, were shut down and everything.
Yeah.
So now they started going, oh, well, we'll have church online. You can watch it on you. So now it's pretty much there is no excuse for me to not watch church or get the word in, be able to grow my mental and spirituality. And that definitely helps.
Yeah, and I know sometimes like I be like, you still ain't doing enough, my boy. But one thing, my biggest thing is not the aspect of going to church, but do you have your relationship with God? So even if you don't make it to church, even if you don't get a chance to watch the replay online or whatever, do you have it within you to make sure you're just talking to God on your own?
Yes.
And that was always important to me.
It was.
And so I was like, because it don't have to look the same.
It doesn't.
Everybody's stuff don't look the same. I watch church faithfully at this point every Sunday on live stream. I don't go in the building. I don't always want to drive 30 minutes to church. But my thing is, and it took me a minute to get here. I'm like, okay, because it ebbs and flow for me too. I was like, oh, I don't know about all that. But I always had a conversation with God, regardless if I watched church or not. So that was my biggest thing. I'm like, well, because when he was like, I ain't doing all that, I was like, well, do you at least be talking to God? Do you at least pray? Like, tell me you do something. Just don't tell me you're an atheist, because I got to get up out this jam real fast. He's like, nah, I pray, but who is y'all to tell me what my relationship? I said, calm down, pimpin'. As long as you pray, we good. I ain't your parents. They want you in that church building every Sunday. I just want to make sure you talking to the Lord about your struggles and your problems. So, but you have gotten a lot better.
Thank you.
When it comes to like actually being able to watch church. And I'll also say this. Driver's work schedule has also always been a problem up until this past year.
Right.
Because he worked on Sundays. And so that was always a thing, which was also why I was like, as long as you praying and you talking to the Lord about like things that you're going through and just what you need in life, you're good to go. Because who am I to tell this man, you better call off work? The hell?
Oh, no.
Y'all know I don't go to nobody's job. So I need his health insurance. I need the health insurance. So yes, sir, you go to work. But since you've been able to be off on Sundays, you have been able to enjoy the word. And it's still not every Sunday where he's watching it. And I don't care. But it's like, oh, when you're woke, we're like, okay, cool. Let's have breakfast and watch church.
Yep.
And I feel like you be enjoying it. Because we attend New Life. So I feel like you be enjoying it.
I do. I enjoy it. It definitely gives me that word that I'll be looking for. Because it's one of those things like you may be thinking about something. And then you watching church, and that pastor is just right there preaching about what you were literally thinking about. And it's like, Dad, you're talking to me. Yeah. I understand that. So now I get clarity on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or also, like for me, I've been increasing my prayer more. I pray more. I talk to God more. Sometimes if it even is just a simple prayer like, hey, thank you, Lord, for waking me up. Please watch over my family, my friends. Please watch over my wife. Give her the strength. Something as simple as that. In your name we pray. Amen. And I go about my day. But it happens a lot more often now than it did in my past.
Because you felt like I was like a little driving force to help you with that?
Yes. You was the beacon of hope. You were the one who was like, hey, you should be able to develop that relationship with God, And sure enough, it has developed and it's been beneficial. And it's just increased my faith.
Oh, look at you. Hands cold, ain't it? Look at you. Look at the baby. Okay, so we talked about mental health, physical health, spiritual health. Okay, cool. Did I miss? Is there one you thinking of?
You got one more.
What?
Social.
Oh, social health?
Yeah. Being able, a lot of times we do, it's one of those things that a lot of guys we don't think about. But just being around your friends and your brotherhood, developing that social circle and communicating with your friends can definitely improve your mental and your physical. So like it's one of those things where you always try to encourage guys to hang around with like-minded individuals. And develop those bonds and those friendships.
So how did I help with that? Or how did being married help with that?
Being married, it helps because now you get to meet with other married friends that have that. So like it's one of those things where we can bounce ideas off each other's, be able to just communicate and have fun and like just be able to bond on a more adult ways level, other than because a lot of times we think about bonding just as, oh guys, we're gonna go to a sports bar and hang out or do something,
play the game,
and sometimes it's not just that. Sometimes it's more about like, well, hey, I had this situation, how did you feel? Like, oh well, that same thing happened to me. Or even if it's some just on the more lighthearted level, just being able to have that social circle and you guys go somewhere and hang out. Just come over to the house like, hey, what's up, bro? How's it going? Or even on the phone, hey, I'm just checking up on you. What's good? Because a lot of times, a lot of men, we resort to isolationism and we think that, oh, I don't need nobody, I'm good. And then you wonder when you get older, that social circle that you didn't develop, now you don't have it.
No, that's true. Because I would say like, and I think I've said it multiple times in past episodes, like Jarvis is such a homebody. He don't be talking to nobody. And it's not because he don't want to. It's just like, it's not because he don't necessarily like people. It's just like, oh, it's just easier to just be home, isolated, and just chill in my own little world, like whatever. And then, but it be me like, so have you talked to a couple of your friends this month? Like, have you texted them? Like, did you say hi outside of social media?
And I think that's another part of it as well, is because I'm friends with a lot of my friends on social media. So it's like I see them, but I don't see them. I see them on social media. I'm like, oh, they good. We blah, blah. Like when we may talk a lot on there. But it's not necessarily like, hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm just out in to check on you. Or it's really not on a more one-on-one, deeper level. So and sometimes you may see a person on social media and you might be thinking they're fine, and shoot, they may be going through it. Right. So it's one
and that's what be crazy too, cause like I ask him like, how is this so and so doing? He be like, oh, he fan. I be like, I think you might want to text him. He be like, why? I'm like, I've talked to his wife recently. So just check in on your homeboy. Just you text him directly and not just think it, cause social media he displaying one image. That ain't what's happening behind the scenes. People are literally just trying to stay afloat at times.
Right.
But I do feel like you've gotten better with like communicating with. I am telling you, I used to literally have to tell Travis like, so this month I need you to contact this person, this person, and this person, so they know you still love them as a brother.
Right.
Like, say hi to your friends. And one thing I can also say is that they all. I'm sorry if I just burst our bubble that I'm the one who telling him that, but he means well. It's just out of sight, out of mind. So that's
Definitely.
really how he is. But it'd be so good because I can see like when you do text them and then they're responding and then like you're all into the messages and like y'all having like, even if it's a quick like 5-minute text exchange, and then it's like, oh, that was so good. I'm glad I got to see because I didn't know this was happening, or I'm glad he's doing well, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, see, if you would have texted him 3 weeks ago, you would already knew all of this.
Right. And the good thing about my friends is like, they know who I am. Like she says, I'm out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
So it's not malicious or anything like that. It's just me like, dig, if it's not right here, sometimes right here in front of my face.
Yeah. I mean, because I get the side effects of that too sometimes. Out of sight, out of mind. It shows up in our household and I be like, bruh. He be like, oh, I ain't even think about that. Do it need to be in your face, sir? Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad, not saying that necessarily I am the reason why all these things changed your life, but I'm glad that like you feel like being married actually you see the benefits of being married.
Absolutely.
In different ways. And I know this is just one component of how it's benefited you. So I know it's other components too. But I'm glad that like you feel like being married, because some people be feeling like being married is like the worst thing ever. But that's because y'all married the wrong person. I mean, I'm gonna leave that right there. I ain't gonna need to pick that back up right now. But so it's always good, because I feel like people do need to see like the good side of marriage. You know what I'm saying? Because social media always highlighting the negative. So, or that's always what's been put out for clickbait and stuff like that.
I think that's where we are as a society now.
Yeah.
It's like the negativity is what is gonna get people's attention and all of that.
It's the people going. It's provocative.
But you also have to be able to focus on the positive.
Yeah.
And understand that every situation is it's not gonna be all bad. It's not gonna be all good. There's gonna be a balance, and you have to be able to navigate that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Check you out. Okay. Did you have a question for us or?
So.
Oh, we got a lot.
We got a lot right here. I couldn't pick out one specifically, so I was like, you know what? We're gonna play a game. Just pick one.
I don't want to do that one.
You want to do that one?
No.
All right. Well, go ahead and pick another one.
Okay. I guess we could. I don't know if I got an answer to this, but we can do it. But this is about self. Let me just look at all these.
And just like that, the game is null and void.
No, I think this is fun. It say, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received.
I guess you could also look at it from a health standpoint. You can answer from a health standpoint, since we're talking about
from a health standpoint.
Yeah,
I'll say mental health is important.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if you aren't feeling yourself mentally, or you feel overwhelmed, and I'm talking for men, but all people in general, see a therapist. It definitely helps. They're able to express you can express your ideas to that therapist, and they'll be able to break it down for you. They're also going to challenge you on some things and be able to try to get you to become your better self.
Yeah.
I know me, I was nervous when I see a therapist. And I know for me personally, I was a little bit nervous. Like, I don't need to see no therapist. What's wrong with me? Like,
do you like your therapist?
I do.
I see a therapist too, since we putting that out there.
So we do. We see therapists, and it definitely helps. It's just to be able to get your own ideas and your own individuality on things that you may, though somebody helped to break it down for you in a non-biased point of view.
Yeah.
So that's the first step that I'll see. And also on a physical, where you go get you a doctor. Don't be afraid to go to that doctor, and don't be afraid to go to their check-your visits.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to change your doctor if you feel like your doctor ain't listening to you.
That part.
Because you pay all that money in medical, so you should be able to have a doctor that is going to listen to you, and you're going to feel seen and heard.
Yes.
And if you have asked your doctor for a test or anything and they deny it, tell them to write that up in your chart, because if something happens, you better get ready to sue.
Right.
Just saying.
And also some things that you can do. Just be mindful of what you do now can affect you in the future. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, when you have those health situations, they can be prevented just by sometimes by eating right, making sure and maintaining active fitness.
Yeah.
Doing those things can go a long way towards improving your health.
Yeah, and your lifestyle. Yeah.
So.
Okay. The only thing I would add to that is consistency is key.
Definitely. Consistency is key. Especially when it comes to maintaining that lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle. Like, you're not going to always want to do it, but.
Because I don't always like going to work out. Mm-hmm. I don't always like going to Pilates. I don't always like going to my Pure Barre classes. I don't even always like eating healthy. But I be like, okay, girl, do you want to look good in a two-piece or not?
Right.
Or do you want to be walking around looking like the two-piece chicken white? Two-piece white meat.
And understand, it's okay to treat yourself every now and then too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So just be able to
live your best healthy life.
Right, that part. I like that. I like that.
But in other words, y'all, We hope that you guys found this little segment to be helpful and inspiring. You know, take care of your health, men, in honor of Men's Health Month. You know, because you deserve it. Do it for yourself, not just for anybody else, but do it for yourself and know that there is a big reward on the other side of it. And that reward is longevity, really. Mm-hmm. So, y'all know what time it is. Follow us, like, subscribe, all the other good jazz. And talk to us in the comments because I be commenting back. My YouTube people know. Y'all know I be commenting back. So it was good seeing y'all again. I'm talking about seeing y'all like y'all in the room with us. We hope it was good seeing us again. Right. But anyways, y'all know what time it is. Let's see more shenanigans.
See more
shenanigans.
We gon' shenan again. We gon' shenan again.